The entire auditorium gasped as Principal Hargrove's hands violently ripped the certificate in two right under the live camera lights. Kinsley Thompson felt her stomach drop as she stood beside Aspen Reyes, their secret now exposed to thousands watching online. In that moment, everything they had built in silence began to crumble under the weight of tradition and fear. The ceremony had started so perfectly. Evergreen High in the quiet suburbs of Plano, Texas, was honoring its top student leaders for the annual community service project. Kinsley and Aspen had poured months into organizing food drives and tutoring sessions for underprivileged kids, earning the joint commendation for outstanding teamwork. No one knew the real teamwork happened in stolen moments after school, in quiet park benches and late-night texts where their friendship had quietly, inevitably turned into something deeper. At 18, both seniors, they had kept it hidden because Kinsley's father was Pastor Thompson, the man whose sermons on family values filled the local megachurch every Sunday. Aspen's single mom worked double shifts at the hospital and just wanted her daughter to graduate without drama. Principal Hargrove had smiled for the cameras at first, shaking their hands. Then someone in the front row whispered something. His face changed. He leaned into the microphone, voice booming across the live-streamed assembly. While I applaud hard work, we cannot ignore the truth. This school stands for moral integrity. Relationships like this undermine everything we teach. His fingers tore the heavy paper with a sound that echoed like a slap. The crowd erupted. Phones shot up. Kinsley felt the blood drain from her face as Aspen reached for her hand, only to pull back when the principal glared. Security escorted them off stage amid the chaos. In the hallway, Kinsley's phone exploded with notifications. The video was already trending. "Did you see that?" Aspen whispered, her voice shaky but steady. "He's crazy. We didn't do anything wrong." Kinsley nodded, but her mind raced to her father's face when he saw the clip. The pastor who had raised her on Bible verses and Sunday potlucks would not understand. She could already hear the disappointment in his voice, the way he would say her name like a prayer gone wrong. By the time they reached the parking lot, the school board was already getting calls. But for Kinsley, the real storm was just beginning at home. Her father was waiting when she walked through the door that evening. The television played the clip on loop. "Kinsley Marie Thompson," he said, voice low and controlled, the same tone he used before delivering a sermon on sin. "Explain this." She tried, words tumbling out about friendship turning to love, about how Aspen made her feel seen for the first time. He didn't yell. He simply stared, then said the words that would haunt her for weeks. "This ends tonight, or you end it with us." Her mother stood behind him, eyes wet but silent. Kinsley went to her room without dinner, staring at the ceiling while texts from Aspen lit up her screen. "You okay? We can fight this." She wanted to reply yes, but the weight of her family's reputation pressed down like a physical force. Outside, the Texas night felt colder than ever. The next morning at school was worse. Whispers followed her down the halls. Her best friend, Madison, avoided eye contact in homeroom. "I can't be seen with you right now," Madison muttered during passing period. "My parents saw the video. They said it's contagious or something stupid." Kinsley laughed bitterly, but inside it stung. Aspen found her at lunch, pulling her into an empty stairwell. "Ignore them. The video is everywhere. And people are calling for the principal to be fired." Indeed, by third period the school announcement came. An emergency board meeting. But Kinsley barely heard it. All she could think about was the family dinner that night, where her father would demand she publicly deny everything to save his ministry. The choice loomed already, sharp and unforgiving. By evening, the local news picked up the story. Texas high school principal sparks outrage after award-tearing incident. Comments flooded in, some supportive, most not. Kinsley's phone buzzed with church members asking if the rumors were true. She turned it off and cried into her pillow. The girl who had always been the perfect pastor's daughter, now feeling like a stranger in her own skin. Aspen texted one last time. "Whatever happens, I'm here." Kinsley wanted to believe it. But as the clock ticked toward midnight, 24 hours after the rip, she wondered how much longer she could hold on before everything broke. The suspension announcement hit the school PA system like a thunderclap exactly 24 hours later. Effective immediately, Principal Hargrove is placed on administrative leave pending investigation. Cheers erupted in the hallways, but Kinsley felt nothing but dread. The viral video had done its job, parents and alumni demanding accountability. Yet for her the victory tasted like ash. Aspen hugged her quickly between classes, whispering, "We won this round." Kinsley forced a smile, but her mind was already at the dinner table where her father had laid down the law the night before. "Deny it publicly," he had said, folding his hands like he was praying. "Say it was a misunderstanding, a phase. The church board is watching." Her little brother, only 14, had looked confused and scared, asking why everyone was mad at his big sister. That look broke something in Kinsley. She had promised her family she would think about it, but the thought of lying about Aspen made her chest tighten. At school, the support was growing. A small group of students started a petition for inclusive policies. Teachers offered quiet nods of encouragement. Yet the fear lingered. Madison finally cornered her after gym. "Look, I didn't mean to ghost you. My dad threatened to pull me from the team if I stayed friends with, you know." The betrayal cut deep, not because Madison was cruel, but because she was scared, just like Kinsley. Aspen noticed the distance immediately. They met at their usual spot behind the bleachers after last bell. "Talk to me," Aspen urged, her dark eyes searching. "You're pulling away." Kinsley wanted to explain the pressure. The way her father's sermons now felt aimed at her. The way her mother had started leaving Bible verses on her pillow. Instead she said, "It's a lot. Give me time." Aspen nodded, but hurt flashed across her face. That night Kinsley lay awake replaying every moment they had shared. The way Aspen's laugh made the world feel lighter, the secret hand-holding during movie nights when no one was looking. How could something so pure be labeled wrong? The school board meeting was scheduled for Friday. Rumors swirled that Hargrove might fight back, claiming he was upholding traditional values. Kinsley's father attended as a community leader, sitting in the front row with other pastors. When the board announced the suspension was permanent pending review, applause broke out, but Pastor Thompson's face remained stone. On the drive home he didn't speak. At dinner he finally broke the silence. "The church is losing members because of this. Families are questioning my leadership." Kinsley stared at her plate, the food tasting like cardboard. Her mother reached over, squeezing her hand. "We love you, but we can't lose everything we've built." The words hung heavy, a choice wrapped in love and guilt. Aspen texted later. "Heard your dad was there. You okay?" Kinsley typed and deleted 3 replies before sending. "Yeah, just tired." The lie tasted bitter. The next day at school, the tension escalated. A group of football players made crude jokes in the cafeteria. Kinsley ignored them, but Aspen stood up, voice steady. "Leave her alone." The room went quiet. For the first time Kinsley saw the fire in Aspen's eyes. The willingness to fight publicly while she herself still hid in shadows. That contrast haunted her through the weekend. Her family attended church as usual, but the whispers were louder. One elder pulled her aside after service. "Pray on it, child. God has a plan for your life, and this isn't it." Kinsley smiled politely, but inside she screamed. By Monday the online backlash against Hargrove had turned into national news clips. Celebrities tweeted support for the girls. Yet at home the pressure mounted. Her father canceled family game night, saying he needed time to reflect on his ministry. Kinsley felt the guilt like a weight on her chest. Aspen suggested they meet at the park after dark, their old safe spot. Under the same trees where they had first admitted their feelings months ago, Aspen took her hand. "I won't push you. But I love you, Kinsley. Whatever you decide, I love you." The words should have brought peace. Instead they amplified the war inside her. As she drove home that night, the decision felt closer than ever. A cliff edge she was being pushed toward by everyone she cared about. The betrayal came on a Tuesday afternoon in the counselor's office. Kinsley had been called in for support. But when she arrived Madison was already there, eyes downcast. The counselor, Mrs. Ellis, smiled kindly. "Kinsley, your friend is worried about you. She mentioned some things that might help us understand the situation." Madison shifted uncomfortably. "I just said you were confused. That maybe Aspen pressured you." Kinsley's world tilted. She stared at the girl who had been her confidant since middle school. The one who knew every secret except this one until the video forced it into the open. You told them that. Madison wouldn't meet her eyes. My parents made me. They said if I didn't distance myself. The excuse hung unfinished, but the damage was done. Mrs. Ellis suggested counseling sessions and a temporary break from Aspen for clarity. Kinsley walked out numb. Aspen found her crying in the bathroom. What happened? When Kinsley explained, Aspen's jaw tightened. She threw you under the bus to save her own skin. That's fear talking. But the words didn't erase the sting. That evening Kinsley skipped dinner and locked herself in her room. Her phone buzzed with Aspen's texts of support, but she couldn't reply. Instead she scrolled through old photos, the two of them laughing at the park, planning their future college applications together. Stanford had offered Aspen a scholarship for her service work. Kinsley had been counting on academic aid to escape Plano. Now everything felt fragile. Her father knocked softly. Can we talk? He sat on the edge of her bed, Bible in hand. I know this is hard. But think of your brother. Think of the congregation. If you stand by this, people will leave the church. Jobs will be lost. The manipulation was gentle, wrapped in concern, but it landed like a punch. Kinsley whispered. What if I'm not confused? What if this is who I am? He sighed, the sound of a man carrying the weight of his world. Then pray for strength to change. When he left, Kinsley felt the walls closing in. At school the next day the atmosphere had shifted again. A handful of students started wearing rainbow pins in solidarity. The newspaper club wanted to interview them. Aspen was ready. We should do it, she said during lunch in their hidden stairwell. Tell our side. Kinsley hesitated. My family. Aspen didn't push, but the disappointment was clear. Later, Kinsley overheard two teachers talking in the lounge. The Thompsons are good people. This could ruin them. The words followed her home like ghosts. That weekend her family attended a church retreat. During the prayer circle her father publicly asked for prayers for a lost lamb in our flock. Eyes turned to her. Kinsley wanted to disappear. On the drive back she finally broke. Dad, I can't deny who I am. He didn't reply, but the silence was louder than any sermon. Aspen waited at the park that night, worried. When Kinsley arrived, the hug felt desperate. I almost said it today, she admitted. Almost told them everything. Aspen stroked her hair. When you're ready. Not before. But time was running out. College applications loomed. Scholarships hung in the balance. And the school board hearing was only days away. The school board hearing packed the auditorium tighter than the original assembly. Kinsley sat in the front row with Aspen, their hands inches apart but not touching. Pastor Thompson spoke first, voice steady from the podium. We must protect our children from influences that contradict our values. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Then Aspen stood calm and clear. Love isn't an influence. It's who we are. The room erupted. Kinsley wanted to speak, to stand beside her, but the words stuck in her throat. Her mother's pleading eyes from across the aisle held her back. After the hearing, the board voted to strengthen anti-discrimination policies. Victory, yet Kinsley felt defeated. At home her father paced the living room. You sat there like you agreed with her. Kinsley finally snapped. I do agree. The argument that followed shook the house. Her brother cried upstairs. Her mother begged them to stop. When it ended, Pastor Thompson said the word she had feared most. If you choose this path, you choose it alone. The threat hung in the air like smoke. Aspen called later. I heard it got bad. Come stay with me tonight? Kinsley wanted to, but fear kept her home. Instead she stared at her reflection, seeing a girl trapped between two worlds. The next day at school, college letters started arriving. Aspen got her Stanford acceptance. Kinsley's top choice waitlisted her, citing recent events in a vague note. The price of visibility was already mounting. Madison tried to apologize in the hall. I was scared. I still am. Kinsley walked past without answering. The betrayal had taught her something. Fear made people small. Her father scheduled a family meeting with the church elders. Kinsley sat through it like a defendant, listening to verses twisted into weapons. Honor thy father and mother, one elder quoted. She thought of Aspen's steady presence, the way she never asked her to be less than herself. That night she met Aspen at the park again. Under the stars they talked for hours. "I can't keep hiding," Aspen said softly. "But I won't force you." Kinsley leaned into her, the first real touch in days. "I'm trying. I swear I'm trying." The following week brought more confrontations. A viral counter-video from Hargrove's supporters called the girls an agenda. Comments flooded their social media. Kinsley deleted her accounts. Aspen kept hers, posting a simple statement: "Love is not a scandal." The support poured in from strangers, but at home the silence grew colder. Her mother stopped setting a place for her at dinner. Her brother avoided her eyes. The isolation clawed at her. Yet in quiet moments with Aspen, the world felt possible again. The choice was crystallizing: truth or survival. Graduation loomed like a countdown. Kinsley had rehearsed her valedictorian speech a dozen times, but every version felt dishonest. The school had asked her to tone down any mention of the incident. Focus on unity, the new acting principal suggested. Aspen, sitting beside her in the senior lounge, shook her head. "Say what matters." The pressure peaked when her father showed up at school unannounced. "Your mother and I have talked. If you walk across that stage as you are now, we won't be there." The ultimatum landed hard. Kinsley drove to Aspen's house afterward, tears blurring the road. Aspen's mom welcomed her without questions, offering hot chocolate and quiet understanding. For the first time Kinsley saw what family could look like without conditions. That weekend they escaped to the park one last time before finals. Sitting on their bench, Aspen took both her hands. "Whatever you decide for graduation, I love you. But I need you to know I'm done hiding. I'm going to Stanford proud of who I am." The words were kind, but they forced Kinsley to face her own fear. Back home her father waited in the living room. "The church board offered me a transfer if this blows over quietly." The guilt trip was masterful. Kinsley almost agreed. Almost. But Aspen's face flashed in her mind. "No," she whispered. "I can't." Her father stood, face pale. "Then we have nothing more to say." The door to his study closed with finality. The night before graduation Kinsley couldn't sleep. She wrote and rewrote her speech until dawn. Aspen texted encouragement. "Be brave. I'll be right there." At the ceremony the sun beat down on the football field. When her name was called for valedictorian, the crowd quieted. Kinsley stepped to the podium, heart hammering. She looked out at her parents in the third row, faces tight with hope she would choose silence. Then she saw Aspen in the front, smiling with pride. The words came steady. "Today I stand here not just as a student, but as someone who learned that truth costs everything and nothing at the same time. I am proud to love who I love." Gasps rippled. Her father's head dropped. She finished to thunderous applause and a few boos. The irreversible line had been crossed. The aftermath hit like a wave. Her parents left the ceremony early. At home that night the house felt empty even with everyone inside. Her father packed a bag for the church retreat. "We need time," he said without looking at her. Her mother hugged her once, whispering, "I love you, but I don't know how to do this." Kinsley packed her own small suitcase and moved in with Aspen's family temporarily. The scholarship waitlist turned into a rejection letter citing character concerns. Stanford remained open for Aspen, and she begged Kinsley to apply anyway. "We can figure it out together." Weeks blurred into summer. Church members unfriended her online. Her brother texted once. "Dad says not to call." The pain was sharp, but so was the freedom. Aspen and Kinsley spent evenings planning their future. Small dreams of an apartment near campus, part-time jobs, and nights without secrets. One evening at the park, the same bench where it all began, Kinsley turned to Aspen. "I chose you. I choose us." The kiss they shared was soft and certain, no cameras, no fear. Yet the cost lingered. Family dinners became memories. Holidays felt hollow. Her mother sent a single card on her birthday. "Praying for you." Kinsley cried, but she didn't call back. The truth had set her free and broken her family in the same breath. Aspen held her through it. "You did the hardest thing. I'm so proud." By August they loaded the car for California. As Plano faded in the rearview, Kinsley felt the weight lift. The girl who once hid was gone. In her place stood someone who understood the price of authenticity and paid it anyway. True or false? Personal authenticity is worth losing your family for?